Good evening. My name is Odie Hawkins, and once again, I'm taking us on a moment in time. Zola Salena-Hawkins sitting there behind the camera saying, "Say more than that." Okay, I will. I'm going to try to act a little bit. I'm saying that in a self-conscious way because I'm not an actor. I am a writer. We decided this year that we were going to start reading shorter pieces rather than do what we did last year, which was read long pieces. I have a character, I guess becoming one of my favorite characters, that I call Likka Sto Rufus. And what I'm going to do this evening is put Rufus into two wars. Two wars. One will be in Vietnam and the other will be in Afghanistan. So I'll have to ask you to stretch your imagination a little bit and give me a little poetic slack, because I couldn't think of a better character to use in both of those wars but Likka Sto Rufus. But by way of introduction, I want to read one page that I call Borracho. This will be an introduction to Likka Sto Rufus. Incidentally, in Spanish, borracho means drunk. My government name is Likka Sto. I'm sorry, it's Reginald Washington III. Well, most of my friends call me Likka Sto Richie. I got a lot of theories about why they started calling me Likka Sto Richie. One of the theories I have is that they started calling me Likka Sto Richie because I hang out next to the liquor store. Here's look at you, Zola. Oh, you gonna ignore me now? That's all right. That's all right. Just do the camera work, and we gonna remain friends.
I should hope. I'll tell my husband on you.
Keep me out of that rascal's way. Matter of fact, I've been hanging out next to the liquor store since 1930. That's correct. 1930. That's when I first got drunk. Things wasn't so strict back then. Prohibition was ended. And whoever had the money could buy a bottle of beer or whatever. I was 15 back in 1930.
Right.
That's right, I was once 15 years old. You weren't even born.
No, wasn't even thought of.
Poor girl. I'm getting carried away. I was 15 back in 1930 when I had my first beer. Beer was fine for a while till I felt the need and the urge to have something stronger. So I moved up to wine. Truth be told, it didn't take me long to figure out that wine was all right, but vodka and gin was better. I loved that clean, clear look of vodka and gin, especially in the summertime. But when the weather changed, when it got a little nippy, I had to have me some liquor with some color in it. That's when I got heavy off into whiskey and cognac. Got to the point where I didn't pay too much attention to whether it was summer or winter. The most important thing was to have a drink. Like I said earlier on, my friends started calling me Likka Sto Rufus. Likka Sto Reggie. I know who I am, there's no doubt about that. My friends started calling me Likka Sto Reggie because I hang out next to the liquor store a lot. Hey, if you want to be one of my friends, why don't you loan me a couple of dollars so I can live up to my nickname, Likka Sto Reggie. So that's how we begin our story with Likka Sto Rufus. I've been doing a series of pieces that I call the Likka Sto Rufus Chronicles. I've read Likka Sto Rufus Chronicle number 4 and number 12, and now I'm going to read number 5. Don't ask me why these don't take place sequentially. I don't have the slightest idea. Before I really get into this, let me make it clear. Make it clear that me and Sweet Wine Willie have been tight for a long time. We date back to playing high school football, basketball together. He was a fast dribbling guard, and I was a small forward. This was way before the days of the power forward and all of that. In some ways, I guess it was only natural we would wind up being close. Likka Sto Rufus and Sweet Wine Willie. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And Lord knows that we did have a lot in common. We were a few months apart age-wise. We grew up in the same neighborhood. And since we couldn't get deferments like ex-Vice President Cheney, baby, mm-hmm. we both got drafted and sent to Nam. That's what we called Vietnam back then. Nam really messed me up, no doubt about it. I was a first-class sniper, and I blew out so many brains that when I got back to the world, that's what we call coming back home, I gave some serious thought to blowing my own brains out. You know how it is. I have to give some serious thanks to Reggie Burroughs, a blind African-American non-vet consul at the VA, for joking me away from the idea of killing myself. Let's look at it this way, my brother. You'll have to look at me. Well, you'll have to look at it for me, because as you can see, I'm blind as a bat. If you push yourself away from the dinner table, in a manner of speaking, you will never have the pleasure of eating your mama's fried chicken again. Mm. Bro, Burroughs really know how to get at you. But my mama been dead for 10 years already, I said. Bro, Burroughs didn't miss a beat or a phone call. Well, if you're dead as a doornail, you won't even have the pleasure of the memory of your mama's fried chicken. How about that? It took a few months for this blind ex-Vietnam vet, a brother from Lyons, Georgia, to convince me that killing myself, committing suicide, was not cool. Look at it this way, dude. Committing suicide is a relatively easy job to pull off, especially if you spent a little time killing other people. I think the act of suicide is much too selfish. That's the biggest problem I have with suicide. Okay? So you want to end it all, blow your brains out, whatever. Where you going, woman? Come back here. I can't see you. That's all right. I'll see you later on. So, okay, so you want to end it all, huh? Blow your brains out, whatever. Well, what about the people who love you? What's supposed to happen to them? Okay, so you've chosen suicide. And you've left them no choice but to be dragged into your selfish decision. Hey, man, if the only person you were destroying was yourself, I say, go head on. But it's not like that, dude. You're placing weights on other people's minds and spirits for years, maybe generations to come. Don't think selfishly. Think of the consequences of your actions. Needless to say, I didn't do my death. I did crack. But I'll deal with that a little later on. I came back with one leg shorter than the other one. Wine came back from his time in Vietnam without his manhood. Imagine that. At 24 years old. What was he, 24, 25? The Viet Cong, that's who we were fighting. Not the Vietnamese people. Were fiendish devils when it came to survival and booby traps. You could pull a banana leaf back and get stabbed in the eyes with punji sticks. The punji stick was a sliver of sharpened bamboo with dung smeared on it. Colin Powell got a punji stick wound through his left foot in Vietnam. That's right. That one. Wine, during his time, stepped on a punji stick booby trap and it shot slivers of poison bamboo up between his legs. The Kong tried to demoralize us with this kind of stuff, and they did to some extent, but they also made us mad as hell. So I came back to the world with one leg shorter than the other one. Wine came back to the world at 24 with a whole lot of stuff that I hadn't experienced, hadn't felt. You know what I'm saying? Me and Wine were roommates for about 3 months, once upon a time. That was all I could take. I was having my post-traumatic stress disorder nightmares at night, but this brother was having his in the middle of the afternoon and at other points in between. We kind of did the accordion bit with each other. You know what I'm saying? Going in and out of each other's lives. Sometimes I wouldn't see him for months, and then at other times I might see him every day for a month. A whole lot of depended on what we were doing at the time. When was it? A couple of months ago. He pulled up on me in my usual spot right here, next to the liquor store. Right next to the liquor store. We did the old dap, the way brothers used to do in Nam, you know, all that kind of handshaking and stuff. I could tell he had something on his mind. Likka Sto, what do you think about same-sex marriages? I had to take a deep breath on that one. The first thought that came to my mind was, don't tell me Sweet Wine Willie done turned gay. I took another deep breath and thought as fast as that wine and crack would let me think. Well, let me put it to you this way, Sweet Wine. I think, personally, that people ought to be able to get married to whoever they want to be married to. That's the way I feel about it. He didn't give me a chance to take another deep breath before he fired the next zinger at my head. So what do you think about human-robot marriages? I had to laugh out loud because I thought the brother was pulling my leg. But then I could see he was righteously serious from the expression on his face. Look, Wine, why don't we poll our coins together and get one? I think we ought to have a little bit of Irish rose to go along with this conversation. Richest Wild Irish Rose, Thunderbird, Night Train, popular brands of rot gut pluck. I don't know what the grape content was or what it is, but the alcohol content was high enough to keep you from freezing on a sub-zero day. We got a fifth of Richard's Wild Irish Rose and tripped round to the back of the liquor store to sit and sip on the wooden crates back there. It took him 2 swallows of the pluck to get right back on the track. So what do you think about human-robot marriages? Well, to be honest with you, Sweet Wine, I haven't been giving it a whole lot of thought. Well, I have, he said, and swallowed a mouthful of Wild Irish. There was nothing to do but play the waiting game, see where the brother was coming from, you see? What kind of stuff is this? Robots and human beings and getting married and stuff, you know. Boy, been drinking. You know, the Japanese have been heavy into robots for a long time. Some of them even think that robots have souls. Okay, so a robot may have a soul, but would you want to be married to one of them? I call myself making a joke, being funny, you know what I'm saying? But that didn't go over too well with Sweet Wine. So what's wrong with being married to something that you feel love for, huh? Hey, you got some folks out here who love their cars. They love their television sets. They love their refrigerators. They love their kitchen sink. They love their video cameras. They love a whole bunch of stuff. Why shouldn't they love their robots? So what's wrong with that, Mr. Likka Sto Rufus? I knew we were headed off the deep end when he called me Mr. Likka Sto Rufus. But I had to give him a little pushbacks. Whoa! Hold on here a minute, Mr. Sweet Wine Willie. Being in love with your car or your video camera is one thing, but what do you say to your mama or your daddy when you show up with Roberta the robot telling them that y'all is getting married? How you think that would play out? Funny thing, I noticed that the level of the wine in our bottle was getting real low, real fast. Was it time to get another one already? Likka Sto, I thought you was a progressive type dude. No, I can see that you ain't. Maybe you've been fooling me all this time. Can't you see that robots is going to be demanding to vote? They're going to be demanding citizenship, the right to be free and equal just like all the rest of us. They'll be wanting to have everything we got, everything they deserve. And we're going to have to give it to them, or else they're going to start a worldwide WASP revolution. To be honest, I was not totally sober when I stumbled away from the set. But I knew I had to move on before me and Sweet Wine Willie got to the violent stage. It's been a while since I've seen him, but when I do see him again, I'll definitely have more to say about this human robot stuff. Brother gave me a lot to think about.
I know.
Oh, welcome back. I see you've been crawling under the radar. Or should I say the video? And you made it back just in time.
Maintain. Just take care of business, you know.
That's great.
All right.
Well, let me bring this to an end with another poem. This is my second one in 2 days.
Gotcha.
And the reason I'm doing it is because, once again, a friend of mine, well, I could say two friends, who egging me into, you can't write poetry, you can't. So I wrote one poem yesterday.
Right.
Or some days ago, and I followed it up with this one. As I said at the beginning, I'm using Likka Sto Rufus in two wars. We just finished the Vietnam War, and then at a later date, let's assume for creative purposes that he was sent to Afghanistan. And while he was there, doing all the stuff he was doing, he wrote a poem called Salaam Alaikum, which means, as we all know, peace be unto you. Salaam Alaikum. Black, white, red, yellow, brown, boots on the ground, IEDs all around, Taliban. Salaam Alaikum. Salaam Alaikum. Love stick Afghani warlords waging tank battles over cute little boys and whipping burqa-bound women for exposing innocent ankles, faces. What would Khadija say? Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Fundamentalists, spiritually inclined morons, scrape the oozing sap from the bulbs of the holy poppy to supply the planet's dope fiends with delusional happiness. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. The spiritually inclined morons, north, south, east, and west, marinate themselves in delusional beliefs that will justify any unhappiness they choose to create, cook up. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Splashing acid into the faces of baby girls who dare think, outside the burqa. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. The past glories of Islam, the gorgeous voices of all the Bilals calling us to worship. Assalamu alaikum. The hope that our world, the future, will once again know the Islam that gave us so many wonderful things. Assalamu alaikum. So much beautiful music, so many dances, so much science, math, so much gorgeous calligraphy. One word worth 1,000 pictures. So much architecture, Taj Mahal. So many great men and women. The Prophet prays, peace be upon his memory. So many wonderful social structures. Khadija proposed. So much hope. God willing, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Our boots return, telling, asking. Their minds, soul haunted by post-traumatic stress, disordered memories. Return to nomadic lives on the naked streets of our USA. Legs, arms, faces, bodies shot up, blown off, homeless, permanently angry about the wars that Cheney and Bush suckered us into, addicted to the heroinic sap that they protected in Afghanistan. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Faces at the VA with eyes that will never see tomorrow. Ankles without feet. Thighs without legs. Arms without hands. Chains with sliced off bodies. Proud men and women. Black, white, red, yellow, brown. No longer boots on the ground. On Taliban ground. No IEDs all around. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Ashe. So that was his spin on the one facet of the Vietnam, of the Afghanistan,
Exposed to that
Iraq
culture.
war.
Exposed to that culture, yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about veterans I've met at the VA who hate to say that they feel they've been used, you know, to go over to fight some, sent by one bunch of fanatics to go fight another bunch of fanatics and then come home and the fanatics who sent them over there don't even have a job for them. They have really no place for them, so they wind up in the streets. What do we got? I think the figure is something like 50, 70,000 people living on the streets in Los Angeles right now. And a lot of them are vets.
Exactly.
A lot of them are vets. That's it for this evening.
Thank you.
We'll be back doing the same thing this moment in time next Monday. The pieces might not be quite as poetic, but I think I've proven my point. I can write a poem.
Yes. Likka Sto Rufus can write a poem.
Likka Sto Rufus is my poem.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, my name is Likka Sto Rufus, whatever I want it to be.
There you go.
And
with that,
thank you, Zola, for being such an inspiration. You should see her behind the camera. Her smile delights me, and her crawling underneath the camera range enchants me.
Don't talk about
So here we are with a moment in time.
Your
See
website is www.oliehawkins.com. Just Google Odie Hawkins to see the treasures he has written and planning to write. And with that,
It
Ness.